Our next speaker is again a dynamite in her own right. Miss Jaya Abraham, the most sought after... Oh, all right, everybody loves you, Jaya. Here we go. The most sought after transformational leadership trainer, corporate coach and speaker. Her breathtaking travel schedule takes... Is it schedule or schedule? Schedule takes her to corporate boardrooms, churches, seminars, and also to remote rural locations across the country. Thousands of youngsters and professionals are inspired by her dynamic personality and insightful messages. Jaya and her husband, Abraham, maintain an open home in Mumbai and with an open heart to receive people from all ages. She operates in the prophetic. She's a people person. She connects with you. And put your hands together. We're very honored to have Jaya Abraham at LeadTalks. You can do better than that, Hyderabad.
Good afternoon. So 2 girls from Chennai. We belong to Bombay now. So can you have a hand for Bombay, please? Okay. What am I going to say? What am I going to share? Let me give you upfront. Most of the Hyderabadis will know me. They watched me speak somewhere or other. And everybody comes running to me first saying, where's your PowerPoint? Can we plug it in? This time there's no PowerPoint. Yeah. Because I said afternoon hour, there's enough of PowerPoints said and done and spoken and shared. I'm going to just speak. What am I going to speak? Let me lay the ground for you, whether you choose to sleep or to listen. So let me tell you what I'm going to speak on. I want to speak on my life purpose first. And then I'm going to tell you who I am, whose am I. Then I'm going to share you some milestones in my life from 20, 30, 40. Hyderabad, by the way, I turned 50. Yeah. And I'm also going to share with you, is my journey a journey of fulfillment, of purposes, integrity, and excellence? Or is it a journey of failures or successes? And lastly, I want to end with a bit on legacy. Okay, that's how we go now. And where's the time? Okay, it's here. Already a minute and 15 seconds is gone. Can you imagine? I think this clock is rigged. It's okay. Who am I? I was born as a friend of another faith. I was not born in a so-called Christian home. At the age of 12, I found Jesus and I started following him. Unlike most of you here, I didn't go to church till 24. I continued following Jesus. As Rochelle said that suddenly no memory of verses. I started memorizing the Bible at home because I went to a Scottish mission school. They gave you Gideon Bible in plenty, week after week if you wanted. And I memorized it. And I couldn't even pronounce Ecclesiastes. Okay? And I didn't understand. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I just memorized and I said, if I know the Word and it retained in my heart, I am saved. I'm going to make it through. Yeah? And that's how I walked my path. And as all Chennai, Hyderabadis, as well as the guys from Bangalore will understand, education is a part of our life. You know what? What it means, you just study, study, study. Yeah? You get a sprain on your brain, but still you study. Yeah, and that's what happened to me because I was good at studies. My parents made me study. Okay, because, I continued studying, I had this sudden one day a love couplet which I wrote to Jesus. And I said, Lord, give me no name, give me no fame, but please do not put me to shame. And so every time when my friends asked me, I said, hey, that's my prayer every day. They said, you copied it from somewhere. I said, excuse me, in our days, we didn't have internet. Can you imagine? I'm really old, yeah? So we didn't have internet. And there was only library books we read, and none of the books had those lines. I prayed it every day. I finished my MPhil. And I really learned that following Christ and doing everything that you think is humanly right doesn't make you have the best in life. It cost me a lot of things following the cross. My first assignment after I finished my MPhil, purpose, because I got quite highly ranked in the university. So I got a job to teach postgraduates, policy sciences, and principles of management. So I went and taught every day. And my first journey outside my home and outside my work was not church, to start a little cell group for teachers in that community outside my college. The cell group, by God's grace, grew from 6 to 66. But don't clap, wait, still the climax is coming. Wait, yeah? 6 to 66 it grew, and I thought, wow, fantastic, this is happening. Lo and behold, the head of the institution called me and said, your name is Jaya Ramamurthy, but I don't think you're a practicing, you can fill in the blanks, and we don't intend continuing your job in this college. You may leave. So my first part of following the cross with absolute integrity and knowing that giving the gospel to others was what Jesus had called me for, cost me my job. Anyway, it's okay. As Rochelle said, that till you don't know what you want to do, where you want to go, if you love people and people become important in your life, I think that's God's heart for each one of us. So my father got sick, and God was training me in mercy. So for a year and a half, I took care of him at the bedside, doing bedside nursing. And little did I know, when he got the cancer at that time, and after that he lived for 9 years, God had prepared me for something supernatural. What was that he had prepared me for? Currently, my husband has a sister who's had cancer for the 6th time, alive and kicking and normal. And I know how to show mercy to her every day. My purpose as I walked my work life also became one where I can show mercy, help people, really be there for them. For first 11 years, I worked in hotels. Why did I go work in hotels? After being educated so high. I'm not saying hotels don't need education. Don't get me wrong, yeah? I honor everybody who works. I went and got trained to be the general manager of a hotel. I went to one of the best institutes in hotel management, and I went back in uniform to be taught. 6 weeks I washed toilet. 8 weeks I made beds. 14 weeks I carried everybody's luggage, porterage, and in the uniform of those people. And every third day of the week, you become the manager in that particular department. It was an experience of humility beyond compare. And I used to ask the Lord, why me? And in the hall you're sitting, this hotel, I know it so familiarly well, because my first posting out of Delhi was in this very hotel. I used to live near the airport, the old airport those days. Just earned 2,200 rupees, came and worked here, and I said, Lord, my ego is totally broken. I will do everything that is in front of me to the best of my ability. And that's what I did. And how did my purposes get fulfilled? When I came to work, I worked with real integrity, excellence. Everybody would say, hey, if you don't know a guest's name, because those was not days of computers, by memory you remembered every guest quirks. Can you imagine? You knew when Princess Diana came, I knew what I had to do. Okay, don't think I'm very famous. The famous people came here. Okay, that's how I catered to them. Okay, I knew when Muhammad Azharuddin came to the gym, I knew exactly what he wanted and how he will reflect. Yeah, that's how I grew up here. And then overnight, because of being committed to what I was called, I was transferred to Mumbai, the city of dreams. Everybody wanted to be in that property, but God took me to that property. Many things He did. That's how I got to go to the one and only first church I began going in the town of Colaba, and that's where I continue going till today, 27 years later. You may ask, what is the purpose? You went and did a job for 2,200 rupees, Jaya. What is the purpose? Where was all your education? I want to tell you folks, I have no answer, but I know one thing. When God is in it, there has to be outcomes which are godly. When we are in it, our outcomes are never godly. And people looked down upon me. They said, what? You're an MPhil in development administration and you're working in a hotel? Hello? Have you got any common sense? I said, I don't care about common sense. I don't think of all that. I got a job and I am happy. And as Rochelle said, when I got a salary of 2,200 rupees, this is something personal. You can edit it later. I'm cool with it. God put into my heart, God put into my heart, Dad, don't do 10% tithing. Give all that you think you can give. And I want to say one really good learning that I've had of integrity over the years. I started with more than 10%. Ultimately, I finished working till 26 years, last 2 years ago. I consult now. And when I stopped working, 10% was not what God enabled me to give. And I don't want to tell you how much percentage I gave God, but I want to encourage, when you give, it'll come back to you and you will keep giving and giving and giving. And I want to tell you, the lesser the salary, the more you give, the more the salary, the lesser you will want. Did you get that? I can't repeat it. I'm like that. You know me by now. Yeah? And, okay, how did the transition happen? Next 5 minutes, how did the transition happen? After 11 years of hospitality, my husband kept impressing on my heart. He said, Jaya, I think you love people, you can train people, you can really develop them, and you got a heart for people. So why don't you try your hand at learning and development? So I started that was the first few years when the contact center business outsourcing was coming into the country, 1998, 99. And that's when I started doing a bit of work by myself. And I suddenly realized, no certifications. I know Anand is here, an extremely qualified man in learning and development and the whole knowledge base. Okay, I had no certifications. I had no psychometric tests done. I had nothing. I started putting programs together as the Holy Spirit of God led me, and I started training. The first few months, the place where I trained, after the 6th month, they said, hey, Jai, I think we're quite exhausted with what you're doing, so you may stop it. Here comes the point of excellence. And I did so well by God's grace. You know what they had done? They had taken my entire package and sold it. And they had made their money. But you know what God confirmed in my heart? Jaya, people can sell your packages, but the faculty of wisdom that I give you, no man can rob it from you. Go on from here. So I'm sharing a life of, you can grade it as failure, you can grade it as God's faithfulness, or you can grade it as absolutely fulfillment. Whatever you want to grade it. So then I got an assignment with a particular company where I went and joined them to lead their learning and development, because I told them, I don't want to write standard operating procedures. For years, I wrote that. How many of you do that? In your companies, yeah? Okay, I did that and I said, I don't want to do that in startups. I want to do something which is productive. Anyway, long story short, God enabled me to set up this place, and I worked in that place for 7.5 years. And Rufus mentioned about open home. That's the time when I saw first generation workers in contact centers, in technical contact centers, were getting engaged in everything that was not godly. So at our home, we started what was called purpose, you're asking. When people become the purpose, God will give you every element of creativity to do it so well. So our home, we opened up and we started doing what was called as meaningful movie time. So Rochelle, I watch movies, so don't get worried. Yeah, I watch. And the first movie we played at our home was Pretty Woman, because I wanted to communicate the message of redemption to them. And I wanted to raise their heart towards the commercial sex workers in Mumbai, the social and the spiritual piece. Yeah, that's how we started. And God, every day at work, for me, it was a time of sowing at work. And of course, Rochelle spoke much about church. Church started getting very jittery about me. Jaya's getting so drawn into work. She's making a load of money now. We will lose her as our volunteer. Hands, let's join hands, Rochelle. You're doing the AV. For 7 years in church, I did overhead projector. Okay? So it's okay. Yeah. I didn't speak for many years. Yeah, anyway. So the church got very anxious. And that's where God put into my heart to start cell groups in various places in the city of Mumbai. At one time, by God's grace, I was running 4 cell groups through the week. And I was doing afternoon shifts at work, and I was contributing to the local church. All this could have not been possible but for God's grace in my life, honestly. But I want to tell you, many of you are struggling with time. Let God order your calendar. 24 hours will expand. You don't have to give up your good assignments because you are not having time. God will multiply time. Yeah, as we kept this home open, then suddenly we opened up our home to have a cell group for all our people. And guess what? Half my team came for the cell group. Boss at work, at home I was doing the cell group with my husband. Half the team came. And we had 65% of people who were friends of other faith in our cell group. And God, and I want to share something very, very encouraging, though it's my story, so don't get upset, yeah? At this point in time, my husband was engaged in the cell group, but he was smoking. And all smokers came to our cell group. So I was like, Lord, are you building an affiliate group of smokers? You know, you can take the smoker out of the house. You can't take smoke out of the house. Yeah? And my husband has gone viral about this, what I'm sharing. That's why I'm sharing with you boldly. And I would take away the ashtray. I would take out their matchboxes. I will take away their Marlboro, good cigarettes, because people are smoking classic. Marlboro is a great attraction. And then my husband one day said, Jay, this is our home. I like it to be the way it is always. There don't need to be any faking around here. I said, okay, Lord. I put it and I started praying. And the Lord said, Jaya, I've called you for a life for a purpose and integrity in me. Excellence comes from me. Don't bother that people are going to find out your inadequacies. More than the smoking, I'm focused on the souls which come to your home. And by the end of 7 years, God led 12 of my team members to His saving grace. Yeah? Then how did the further transition happen? We had a heart for keeping people at home because we don't have biological children. Most happy about it, not unhappy about it at all. Okay, and I'm brilliant with kids. God doesn't rob us because we don't experience, okay? We were once kids and that's in our hearts. And we started hosting people at home. It came to a point in time when my bosses at work would send people and say, oh, Jaya, we've sent somebody who's been domestically violated. Keep them in your house because we told them Abraham and Jaya will take care of them. Who was deciding who comes to my house? My boss. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And I want to encourage you. You know, we first started living in a house which was only 365 square feet. Now we have a bigger home. But in the 365 square feet, first year of our marriage, after first 3 months, 6 months I had a missionary living with us. The next 6 months, I had a boy who had tuberculosis living with us. And 1 year of marriage was over. And I said, Lord, what is that verse in the Bible? Do not send them to war. What is that? And we were doing all this with a minimal salary. When your life is focused on Jesus, let me tell you, money, space, time, nothing matters. He gives it to you all in plenty. Yeah? Lastly, I want to end by sharing with you how God in these years has enabled me to find my milestone of only one thing in His life, in my life with Him. That is to see purposes in people. You know what is my life mission statement? To be those shoulders on which others will grow tall. I ain't grow shorter because from 8th class I didn't grow tall. Yeah? And I want to be the person who will make another look their best every day of their life. What is the legacy that I want to leave? At my funeral, which I visualize every week, nobody speaks ill about anybody at funeral, by the way. Yeah? But I want to, when I'm physically dead, I want people to stand there and say, here is a woman who entertained pauper and the prince, the CEOs and the peons in her home. And she set them to freedom because she believed in that one true God who came only for relationships and nothing more. Thank you for listening.